Captain Thomas Reed stood at the observation deck, his weathered face illuminated by the distant stars. The Alliance fleet gathered around them was impressive: 27 cruisers, 42 destroyers, and 5 dreadnoughts. Yet all eyes were fixed on what drifted beyond them: the human warship, Prometheus. "Is it really just one ship?" Admiral Vega asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Thomas nodded. "One ship, human-made." The alien delegation behind them murmured in disbelief. The Galactic Council had dismissed humanity as a nascent species, barely worth diplomatic consideration when first contact occurred 15 years ago. Humans were deemed quaint, with their chemical rockets and primitive space stations. The Council had graciously offered Earth protection in exchange for resources, a standard arrangement for developing worlds. Earth had declined. "The propulsion system defies conventional physics," said Lore, the Centaurian scientist. "Our sensors detect no traditional drive emissions." Thomas suppressed a smile. "Gravitational manipulation. We call it the Alcubierre White Drive." "Impossible," Lore replied. "The energy requirements alone would be astronomical by your standards," Thomas finished. "Yes, we solved that particular problem 8 years ago." Admiral Vega cleared her throat. "Captain Reed, the Council requires a full assessment. What are we looking at?" Thomas activated the holographic display. The Prometheus rotated slowly in. The projection, a sleek vessel nearly 5 kilometers long, shaped like an elongated arrowhead with strange geometrical patterns across its obsidian hull. Main armament includes 12 mass drivers capable of accelerating projectiles to 0.25 c. The kinetic energy at impact exceeds the yield of your largest nuclear weapons. One of the delegates, a reptilian Drex representative, scoffed. "Primitive. Kinetics, our shields cannot stop what they cannot detect," Thomas interrupted. "The projectiles use quantum entanglement to mask their presence until impact." Silence fell across the observation deck. Secondary weapons include directed energy arrays. We call them sun razors. They focus stellar energy through artificial wormholes. Effective range is approximately 1 light minute. Admiral Vega's face paled. "And defenses?" "The hull contains layers of metamaterials that absorb or redirect energy. We've incorporated quantum foam stabilizers that can temporarily shift portions of the ship slightly out of phase with normal space-time. This is..." Lore struggled to find the words. "This cannot be. Your species was launching chemical rockets merely 20 years ago." Thomas shrugged. "We were. But then your council threatened our sovereignty." He let the words hang in the air. "Humans respond differently to threats than other species. We don't cower, we innovate." The truth was more complex. Humanity had been secretly advancing their technology for decades before first contact, hiding their true capabilities. When the Council arrived, humans presented a carefully crafted image of technological inferiority while accelerating their military research program. "The Council meant no threat," Admiral Vega insisted. "Protection was offered in good faith." "Perhaps. But your protection came with demands for our resources and restrictions on our development. We declined." Thomas walked closer to the viewport. Beyond the Prometheus floated another 100 vessels, the first wave of humanity's defensive fleet. Each ship represented a different approach to warfare, a different solution to the problem of survival in a hostile universe. "Your species builds differently than ours," Lore observed. "These designs follow no recognizable pattern." "That's because we don't have a unified design philosophy," Thomas explained. "Each ship was designed by competing teams with different approaches. We embrace the diversity of ideas rather than settling on a single doctrine." "Inefficient," the Drex representative muttered. "Perhaps. But effective. Your fleets are predictable because they follow consistent patterns. Ours do not." Admiral Vega had been silent, studying the holographic display with growing concern. "These specifications, if accurate, the Prometheus alone could engage our entire fleet." "It could," Thomas confirmed. "But that's not why we're here." He gestured, and the hologram shifted to display a star map. Red markers appeared, spreading ominously from the galactic rim. 3 months ago, our deep space arrays detected these anomalies. We believe they're scout ships for something much larger, something heading toward Council space. The delegates exchanged worried glances. "Why bring this to us?" Admiral Vega asked. "If your technology is so advanced." "Because we're still human," Thomas replied. "We're still mortal, and whatever's coming is unlike anything any of us have encountered. Our models suggest an extinction-level threat to all sentient life." Lore stepped forward, his multiple eyes blinking rapidly. "You could have kept this information to yourselves, prepared in secret." Thomas shook his head. "That's not who we are. Despite our differences with the Council, we share this galaxy. Whatever's coming doesn't distinguish between human or Centaurian or Drex." Admiral Vega studied Thomas's face. "You're proposing an alliance?" "Yes. We'll share our technology, our innovations. In return, we ask for full membership in the Council, as equals, not as protectorates." The observation deck fell silent as the implications sank in. Outside, the Prometheus glided silently through space, its impossible hull gleaming in the starlight. "Council may not agree to these terms," Admiral Vega finally said. Thomas smiled grimly. "They will when they see the sensor data. What's approaching makes the Prometheus look like a toy." He nodded toward the Warship, the vessel that had shocked the galactic community, the impossible ship that represented humanity's response to perceived threats. "Everything you find hard to believe about that ship is real, and everything we've learned about the approaching force suggests we'll need to build something even more incredible to survive." As the delegates whispered among themselves, Thomas gazed at the stars. Humanity had come so far in such a short time, driven by the most fundamental of instincts, survival. Now they would need to learn something perhaps more difficult: cooperation with those who had once dismissed them. Beyond the viewport, the human fleet stood ready, not just a testimony to what humanity could build when threatened, but now a promise of what all species might achieve together in the face of a greater danger. The warship beyond belief was just the beginning.